Hi everyone, today I'm taking a look at the Lokee, which is this reasonably priced camera cage on Kickstarter. It's usable as a cage, to add some accessories to your camera, and it's also usable as a pretty cool camcorder-style hand grip. Now it's available in different combinations. For example, this is the slightly more expensive one that works together with a mobile phone. You can change it so that it's that way, you can change it so that it's this way. Just got a standard camera connection right there. And so you can use this with most small cameras. You might have to remove the lens in order to actually move this out of the way, because the top here is just touching that. So a lens that's slightly large will either not fit in there, or you'll have to close this and then put the lens in. Currently the camera's tilting a tiny bit. Because of the way these are placed, the camera can tilt a little bit backwards, both on the mobile phone version and with regular cameras. So this cage is about $90 or $110 for the mobile phone version with this smaller piece right there. Now I do think the mobile phone version should actually be cheaper than this one, but whatever, it's still a reasonable price. And I actually like this. I've connected my Joby connector right there. It's a standard 1/4 inch connection at the bottom there, so you can connect this to any tripod you want. There's no issues there, it holds on nice and tight. And so I do really like the size of this. I think a lot of people are gonna love this. Okay, so for those of you wondering if this will work with a larger camera, yes it will, but the one issue is that this thing just doesn't have enough grip to hold a big camera, so it might move out of position. I could focus with this hand, hold it with this hand, or I could move this to the other side, so I'd have the hand grip here and then focus with my left hand. And yeah, pretty good. On a big camera like the 5D, it won't fold up over the lens like that. So I've made this cool little modification, which is that I took out this crappy plastic washer and I've replaced it with a metal one. So now this hinge is super strong. So just to show you that takes a lot of effort to move that, and so it's not going to move out of position. It's still perfectly movable, but it's not going to move out of position while I'm filming, and I can use whatever camera I want on here. There's no weight limit anymore. So that's pretty awesome. And I think anyone who gets this can easily do that. You just need to get a washer the right size. I think it's about an M8. So super easy, and makes this awesome hand grip even awesomer. So here I've got it set up in a way that works really well with the Sony a7S, and that is to have the hand grip fold to the back of the camera rather than fold over the lens mount, or to fold here. This can fold outwards, sort of being used as a sort of fig rig, and this works fairly well. Not for running around, it's not a glide cam, but still pretty good. And of course you could have this on the left side of the camera if you prefer. I just thought it worked better for me on the right. And I found out this great little trick that you A7S users are going to love, which is that instead of having your thumb under here, you use the bottom of your palm as the sort of bottom rest. And as long as you have this strap, fitting well, nice and tight, then you don't lose any stability. You have your fingers at the top and then the bottom of your palm here. My thumb is now perfectly positioned touching the record button. And that's a big complaint with the A7S, that the record button is in an awkward place. So with this, you have perfect access to the record button without losing any stability. This really does feel like a nice sort of hybrid between a camcorder and mirrorless or DSLR. I really think anyone who prefers a camcorder sort of grip is going to love this thing. Now, before I get to the accessories, I would like to remind you that I really like this cage. Definitely recommend it on its own. Now let's get to the accessories. I would say they're a joke, but they're worse than a joke because you might cry if you get these. They are really overpriced and they could damage your camera. So first of all, we've got this bottom piece right here, which is heavy. So that's the place where it connects. This is the only connection point it has to it. Doesn't matter how tight you lock that, the camera can still be pushed out. And once again, no matter how tight you lock it, the camera's going to shake around on top of that. Your camera's going to hit the floor and you're going to cry. Now, what this is supposed to do is it's supposed to hold some rods so that you can add accessories to your camera if you wanted to, something like a follow focus or a matte box. What you can do is you can just go to eBay, get some rods, about £10 for a set of 2, and a rod holder, £20–30. There's loads of different things you can choose. I'll put some links down below. Cheese plate screws in place and basically makes this cage no longer a cage. You've already got loads of connection points on this cage. There's absolutely no point adding so many more and so much more extra unneeded metal and cost. And if you really wanted a cheese plate to use for whatever you want to use that for, because you know cheese plates do have their uses, mainly in larger camera rigs, then you can go to eBay and get one for £12. Then we have this thing, which is not available on its own. You have to get it in the big kit with a bunch of other accessories. You can get other ones like this for about £1 on eBay. We have these handle things, two, one at either side to create these what they call this sort of butterfly mode, to put it back into the bag so it actually fits in the bag. You're going to lose these screws and it just takes time to put them back in and requires tools to put them back in. And the same pieces, if you have the little adapter, then it can be used as a top handle for the cage. Okay, so once you eventually manage to connect this as a top handle, it is a slow process and it does require tools, really quite annoying and unnecessary. Once you've done that, what you end up with is something that's more expensive, more bulky, slower to set up, just way too big, too high of a top handle, and it shakes about. It's not very stable. So as soon as the screw gets a little bit loose, that's going to sort of move about. Now what you could do is you could just pull this out, and that will add a lot of stability, really, nice and compact, nice and low cost. The camera's not centered, but that's not a problem. You still get the stability from this. Adjustable so that you can control where the center of gravity is. So let's say you have a very heavy lens, you'd use it like this. If you have a very lightweight lens, you'd use it like this. So then you have this sort of small adjustable cable holder. It's only available with the larger items. If you forget that this is attached and you want to move into one of the sort of hand grip modes, there's so much leverage right there that this is going to potentially cause some serious damage to the camera. If you were holding it, with your finger right there, and you moved this, you're not going to have to move it very hard to really hurt your finger. You could use this together with just a screw and a nut, and that should hopefully hold this in place. It might move a little bit depending on how tight you make this, but basically that will prevent this thing from moving too much. At the moment I haven't tightened it very much. It will move that much, but it won't move any more. Now if you wanted some side handles, don't get these. You can get a friction arm with a little handle. So really nice, really adjustable, really cheap. So my conclusion is this is a really lovely compact cage that's usable as a lovely little hand grip, as long as you completely ignore all the accessories that are available as an optional add-on, and just get yourself the cage, because it's a lovely cage. So a big thanks to Loki for sending these over for review. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Visit my channel for lots more awesome filmmaking and photography videos, like lighting techniques, DIY projects, behind the scenes tutorials, cameras, lenses, adapters, shoulder rigs, stabilizers, flashes, LEDs, microphones, bags, straps, studio backgrounds, tripods, float heads, sliders, multi-tools, and lots more cool stuff!